Hey folks, Jang here from ultimaterc.com with a little something that I've done to a little something. This is my Make-A-Tech H2O Pro boat, very small little thing. I've had this for a while. I think I've got at least one, probably two videos of this thing on the water. I guess I've had it for a good amount of time, got it real cheap on sale. It was the closest thing to a hobby grade boat I had ever owned at the time. It's no longer the case, but it still works, and I'm actually going to be using it again because I've actually done something to it to make it more useful, even in a world where I have bought hobby grade RC stuff, or RC boats now. So basically what you're looking at here is looking mostly stock. I took some of the stickers off and put the green and yellow on it and stuff, but that's, you know, no big deal there, except there are a couple little things added here to the edges on either side, little square styrene tubes, and there's one little nub right here. And what that's all about is this assemblage. I'm gonna go ahead and install it, and this goes over the top, and then one single body clip will hold all that in place. And now I have a little boat with a push bar on the front. So this is now set up for recovery operations. So as I run my more expensive boats, in case one flips over or dies or something out in the water, now I can have this with me ready and raring to go out there. And the push bar sits pretty much right at the water line. This is just the bottom of these is just above the water line itself, and like I said, it's just made of styrene pieces. You can see it a little bit better there. It's just multiple pieces built up and assembled together using styrene solvent, you know, so it all becomes one. Got some I-beams here, a little bit of padding on the front, and a very simple arrangement. These are just square carbon hollow tubes for the main framing of the whole thing, and they go into styrene tubes here, and then at the back the length of the carbon tubes is actually just right, so it ends right at the end here, and then I've got this half round bar across the back, and that actually distributes the load. So any load coming on from the sides actually gets held across all of this area from this half round bar at the back, and then any load at the middle just goes transfers directly onto the bow of the boat itself. You can see a little bit more of how that's constructed in there. I've just got another square tube, and that actually slides around. So as I take it off, now that you've seen what it does, here's the setup for the little clip on the top. It doesn't really bear any weight or anything, just keeps the whole thing in place. And that's just a little piece of hardware, a little aluminum screw, has a nut on top, and there's another nut underneath of that. And I'll pull this out, just show you. This middle piece just kind of slides around. It doesn't really need to hold anything. And there you can see a little bit better how it's just another I-beam, another flat piece on top, and that little square tube in the middle. And everything just has little pieces of padding on the front. And when I don't want to have that thing on it, I can just run it like this, and center of gravity is pretty much the same as stock when it comes to the stuff that I put on it. I mean, these pieces right here don't really weigh anything, but I have done one other thing to improve the craft, and this time this one is actually on the performance side. This thing comes with a 5 AAA nickel metal hydride rechargeable battery pack, and that was never very powerful to begin with, and it has only gotten worse over time. I actually made my own new one with some rechargeable AAAs that I had on hand, and those still work, but they don't really hold a lot of power, and they tend to kind of diminish in power pretty quickly, as nickel metal cells always do. So now I've replaced all that with I've got actually a pair of these. These are Zippy Flight Max, Hobby King sold 700 milliamp hour 6.6 volt LiFe packs, lithium ferrous phosphate or ferric phosphate, ferrous I think, packs, you know, soft shell packs, looks like a LiPo, but lower in voltage, very close to the standard voltage that would come out of the 5-cell AA pack, but this one will hold its voltage under load much better and will hold it much longer throughout the life of the charge as it winds down. Just had to, it comes with one of these servo style plugs, and I just had to swap out the plug on the ESC for one of those. The insulation on this wiring is actually thicker, but the wire itself is the same gauge. And that's it. So now I've got more power and more utility, more versatility out of an old craft that was really, really cheap when I got it. I think it was something like, what was it, 50 bucks, 60 bucks, something like that. Ready to run with the battery pack. It is running on a, as you can see there, number 227 megahertz AM radio. So, you know, that's one thing that's definitely old school about it, very old school, and I'm not all that thrilled about that, but it works perfectly fine. It works more than well enough. I've taken it farther out from shore than I really ever need to take a boat of this size, and it'll go out as far as the hobby grade boats that I have or will be getting, as far as how far out I will take them. Of course, hobby grade stuff with the 2.4 gigahertz stuff will go farther than this relatively cheap thing, but I'm just not going to go that far by choice, because the areas that I run boats are really not conducive to recovering them by hand, not at all. One of them actually, the main area where I test, actually connects directly to the Pacific Ocean by way of the Golden Gate, so that's all bad. But now I've got this, and this is all good. The one thing about the battery is that it is lighter than the AA packs. However, that should work out perfectly because this thing was a little bit tail heavy. I kind of wanted to give it a little bit more trim tab angle. It already has angled trim tabs, but it would tend to fly through the water a little bit nose high. So now, while this thing is on, I won't be on plane very often, I don't think. Maybe I will, but we'll see. I don't plan on it. But with the lighter battery in the back, should allow the stern to rise up a little bit higher out of the water compared to the front. Should work out all right. So just, you know, repurposing old stuff to continue to extract fun from it and get maximum value for the dollar. That's it on this video. You will be seeing this thing in action, so stay tuned for that, and thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.